Hey, what's going on everyone? Vasco here and welcome back to the channel. And today Aston Martin showed a very interesting brand new rear wing update for the Hungarian Grand Prix that kinda is on the edge of legality for the 2022 regulations. So in this video let's take a look at their brand new rear wing, see how it compares to the previous specification and see what kind of effect it may have on the 2022 cars as a whole and on the AMR22. Let's do this. Okay, so here it is, the brand new rear wing specification for the AMR22 for the Hungarian Grand Prix onwards. So as you can see, the main part of the rear wing, so the upper and lower plane, are about the same as they were in high downforce races like Monaco, but they now had this little thing right here, so this little end plate of sorts right here that they were able to add under the 2022 regulations. So as you know, for the 2022 cars, it was like this for almost all of the cars for all of the season up until now. You see, this is a picture from Montreal, from Aston Martin as well, that the car had this kind of smooth plane right here without an end plate, and it had to have this curve right here in order for the car not to have an end plate such as the ones that cars did last year, which caused a lot of vortices, outwash and dirty air, which are all the bad words that Formula 1 is trying to avoid for this season. But now, with their most recent update, Aston Martin seems to have found a way to add a little end plate, so nothing like the end plates of last year as you can see on our screen right now, but they managed to add a little end plate to the bottom part of the rear wing that kind of extends right here to the top part of the rear wing, and it's a very different end plate to what we saw last year, but its effect is the same and it can provide big gains to the rear wing. So just a little insight for those of you who don't know, teams want to put end plates right here on the rear wing to avoid that the flow that's going underneath the wing, so right here on the bottom, and the flow that's going on the top mix. So once a wing has an edge like this bare naked edge of the Aston Martin here, what the airflow is going to try to do is that due to the difference in pressures above and below the wing, the airflow is going to try to mix with each other, and it's going to be able to without an end plate because there's nothing stopping the air. So in the case of the 2022 regulations, there is this bottom part of the wing right here, that stops the airflow from mixing in a very interesting way. But in the end of the day, there's quite nothing like a full-on end plate right here to prevent the mixing from the air on the top and the bottom of the rear wing. Now, you can imagine that once the air mixes, the pressure on the top and the bottom of the rear wing kind of evens out, and it's this difference in pressure and velocity on the two parts of the rear wing that actually generates downforce. So for more mixing on the flows on the above and below parts of the rear wing means that the car will produce less downforce. Now, this is what Aston Martin is trying to avoid here with this brand new end plate design. So they managed to create an end plate that actually respects the 2022 regulations, but that serves the same purpose. So you can see that with this end plate and with this kind of structure right here, you completely avoid the flow going from the bottom of the wing to the top of the wing, or from the top of the wing to the bottom of the wing. So it's having a full end plate effect on the bottom part of the rear wing, and what this means is that they are able to produce much more downforce from this part of the rear wing right here, which allows them in turn to either develop more downforce, which is clearly what they are trying to do in the Hungarian Grand Prix, because you see that the wing angle is still very steep on the top part of the rear wing, or this also allows them in other races to run less of a rear wing angle but still produce the same amount of downforce, but of course with less drag. So this is a very ingenious solution from Aston Martin to be able to have end plates on the 2022 regulations. And they were able to do so by still respecting the rules for the 2022 season. So the 2022 season rules mandate that there are no sharp objects in this section of the rear wing or anywhere else in the rear wing. You see that from the old specifications, the wings are very smooth and they are very elegant, and they have this kind of inwash effect instead of the outwash effect that wings with end plates produce. But what Aston Martin were able to do was to create an end plate that doesn't defy the round nature of the rear wing. So as you can see right here, the wing is never straight, it's always had a curved profile here, even if it means to have a big full circle right here, which by the way is producing a lot of drag, and it's not producing those clean vortices that help to generate the air, because a vortex kind of requires a sharp edge, and there's no sharp edge right here. So it's not producing the same vorticity as the wings in previous years. But what they were able to do was respect the minimum radius that Formula One imposed for the rear wing all around the wing, because they don't have sharp edges, and this is why you have this whole circle section right here in order to respect the minimum radius, and this is what allows this rear wing to be legal. But nonetheless, it's very interesting to see Aston Martin bring this to the table, and in my opinion, one of two things are going to happen. So for the Hungarian Grand Prix, this rear wing is completely legal, and we are going to have to see the effects that it has on Aston Martin. So for free practice 1, we haven't seen really a lot from this rear wing, but in free practice 2, Aston Martin were doing really quite well compared to their usual standards. Now this rear wing is certainly going to be protested, or at least some of the teams are going to ask for a clarification, for a technical directive to be mandated around this rear wing. And in my opinion, this part is not going to be here next year. No way. The Formula One, you see in all of their show cars, none of the cars had this part right here, so it's definitely going to be banned for next year. So once again, one of two things are going to happen. Either we reach Spa and every single team on the grid, at least the ones with the top budgets like Ferrari, Red Bull and Mercedes, have this on their cars, or they see that it doesn't work, or it's protested and becomes illegal, and then Aston Martin must remove it. So I think that Aston Martin made a very, very interesting design solution right here, and this is certainly a modular design, so this part of the rear wing can certainly be detached, and then it becomes a fully legal rear wing. But a very interesting design innovation, and this is what we love to see, teams finding loopholes in the regulations that allow the cars to evolve and to become much more different from each other. And even if this gets banned in 1 or 2 races time, I'm very proud of Aston Martin to be doing this and to be pushing the bar forward, even if they are fighting for the lower points paying positions. So definitely will be very interesting to see how it does on the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's going to be affected by rain, so we may not get a full picture of how this stacks in the pecking order. But I think that if this rear wing concept is not banned once we come to the Belgian Grand Prix, expect to see a lot of teams running it, at least in FP1, to validate if it helps their wings to produce more downforce, or if the drag penalty is not worth it. So that's my quick analysis for the brand new rear wing here on the MR22. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys want to see more details about the Hungarian Grand Prix as the weekend progresses, stay subscribed to the channel and check the community page, because I'm going to be posting a lot of telemetry data there, so be sure to subscribe to not miss any of it. But in the meantime, that's been it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and you can check out my latest video right here or my latest live stream right here, and I'll see you next week after the Hungarian Grand Prix. Goodbye!